Hello friends, it's Ryan from renewedhealth.com. Hope you are well. Wanted to bring to you today a topic that probably is on many of your minds, and that is the topic of what do you do about water? So I think pretty much everyone in any circle, whether it's paleo folks or vegan folks or raw foodist or standard American diet people or whatever the case may be, whatever circle or kind of sub niche you want to fall into, we'd all agree that good, clean water is important. There's a significant problem, though, in the fact that in order for your city to get you the water all the way from their purification facility to your home, they've got to put all sorts of different types of disinfectants in it in order to keep that water from killing you from pathogens when it gets to you. So chlorines and chlorine and disinfectants and other chemical compounds are put in the water to make sure that you don't die from drinking the water. However, less than optimal from a long-term health standpoint because you're getting repeated exposures to those chemical disinfectants over time, over lifetimes and daily usage of those. In addition to that, the municipalities do a really poor job of kind of removing trace contaminants of things like chemicals and pharmaceuticals and xenoplastics and things of that sort, estrogens. So basically, if your next door neighbor is taking Premarin and the kid across the street from you is taking Adderall, and everyone is realizing that only a small portion of those drugs are absorbed into your actual cellular structure, and a lot of it is excreted through urine. You end up with a pharmaceutical smorgasbord of chemical compounds that are in that water that have been purified, that have been decontaminated, but now you're drinking a glass of water with, as many studies have shown in major cities, a couple hundred different pharmaceuticals in trace amounts. You got to take in consideration as well that you're using tiny little trace amounts of pharmaceuticals in every single glass of water that you're taking, along with compounds and disinfectants and then added fluoride in many people's communities as well. Not exactly great for you longevity health warriors out there trying to figure out how do I maximize my health and my family's health for long term. All right, so what does that mean? Well, it means that most folks deploy a technology of getting I should say most folks just drink it right out of the tap, and they can count that as good enough because candidly that's what their parents before them and their grandparents before them did as well. If you're into longevity sciences, you know that that's not ideal, it's not optimal, and you've got to figure out, hey, if I don't take it out, my body, my kidneys, my liver, my purification organs in my body are going to have to take it out for me as well, or they're going to continue to accumulate and have cellular impact on my body every single day of the year. So what do most folks do that want to fix this? Well, they go to Walmart and they buy themselves a small Brita carafe. They pour the water through it and say, oh, gosh, I filtered my water. It must be good enough. And you sit down and you look at it, and it's probably cost company 50 to 60 cents, maybe at most, to manufacture that little plastic container with some granular charcoal in it that takes a little bit of the chlorine out, makes it taste a little bit better, but doesn't do much at all outside of that. Okay? All right, so you go out and you buy an expensive refrigerator. You're like, you know what? My refrigerator has a really good quality, state-of-the-art purification system in it. And you look at it and you're like, oh, okay. Kind of looks like snaps into your refrigerator, it turns, and looks kind of like a large Brita filter. I wonder if this is any good. Well, these are better than those pour-through carafe type filters. They're usually a solid carbon block on the inside of it, but it's pretty darn small, and you got to figure, well, the water's going through this thing fairly quickly. And it's going to be limited in the different types of compounds that a filter like this can remove. Some of these are better than others. This GE one, they believe is so good that it is about $45 a pop for this particular one, and they claim that you should replace this every 6 months. You probably should if you have one of these so you don't get bacteria growing on the inside of it as well. All right. So that's a small little filter system. So here's 2 glasses of water. I'm going to show you my setup here in a few minutes, which will be probably more extensive than any of you have, and that's okay. You don't need to do this overnight, but I would encourage you to start thinking about what can I afford to do And what would be a good option for me to do that maybe I can build onto and kind of get better quality water is, and it's not just the water you're drinking, it's the water you're cooking with, water you're making tea and coffee with if you drink those, whatever the case may be. It's the the liquids that are going to go into your body. Okay. All right. So on the right, I have a glass of water that has gone through my multiple purification system here at my house. And I have a small TDS meter. This is a total dissolved solid meter. If I turn this thing on and I put it into the glass of water, you probably aren't going to be able to read this from there, but it reads 001. So it has 1 part per million of total solids in it. Right here on the left is a glass of water out of my tap that has gone through 2 4-feet columns of catalytic carbon and 2 pre-filters as well. I'll take you into that. But it has not been through the final drinking process. And this water measures at 92. Okay? So far from absolute pure would be 0. Okay? And just to be fair, this is measuring total dissolved solids. It's not measuring chemical compounds. So what do I mean by solids? Guys, solids are what, they look like this. These are solids that my purification system has taken out over the last year. Okay? This is, we can look at this. This stuff is rock. Okay? You can see this up close. This is a lot. This is probably, probably close to a pound of flat out solids that have come off the inside of my purification system. If my purification system didn't do this, guess what my kidneys get to do? Get to remove this out. Your body can't use these types of compounds. Some of it can, but really, at the end of the day, most of it can't. This is like trying to take a little bit of soil and dirt and put it in your water and drink and expect you're going to get iron out of the soil. It's going to give you some challenges, to say the least. So this isn't all that my purification system brought out. My purification system brought out a lot of water-soluble contaminants that were also just flushed down the back flushing system of the unit. So that's what you can see, that it's been removed out, yet alone the stuff that you can't see. Now, a little system like this isn't really going to remove much of any of that. Okay, these filters are going to clog up over time, and it's just going to, candidly, the water flow is going to be decreased, and most of that's just going to pour right through it because they're not designed to absorb that type of solid kind of content. All right, so say you want to do something maybe a little bit better than this. Well, you could go to a housing structure like this, and inside of this you could go to most people go, sorry guys, this is real time right now, this is not studio production here at Renewed Health. You go this, and you'd have a pre-filter, which you'd put in some kind of paper-based or foam-based kind of filter that would go inside of this. And then you can go to different qualities of filters. You can go to like this Matrix CTO Plus, or you can go to this Matrix PB1. These just happen to be a couple that I had sitting around here. Now, this filter is better than this filter. They're both made in the United States, but what are they? They're solid carbon cores, okay, of different types of carbon and different kinds of filter medium on the inside of it that will remove out things like, for instance, this one reduces lead, this one reduces giardia, this one helps improve chlorine taste and odor reductions as well. And but it's, any kind of filter has a pore that's going to go through it, so no filter is perfect. Challenges with the filter system is that, like this one's made out of plastic. These filters have plastic on them, on the insides of them. They have rubber sealants, so it's not going to get you perfectly away from from that. And a system like this, this is going to be relatively inexpensive. You probably pick up one of these for a couple $100. You probably design your own, guys. Like you buy these, 9 or 10 inch filters or whatever they are, pretty inexpensively. All right, let me show you another option. Move this out of the way. All right, so say you're like, I want to go to a much better filter system. This is what's called a Multipure Aquaversa. Okay, This is all stainless steel housing. On the inside of this is a solid, really well designed carbon block, similar to the setup that I just showed you. That have been tested, and these things are expensive. These are, I mean, $500-ish kind of dollars, maybe a little bit more even. I don't know what the current price is. We don't sell these, but this would go underneath your sink. You'd have an inlet line, and you have an outlet line coming up to a faucet that would go on the side of your sink as well. But that would be kind of a step up from a carbon block perspective. All right. So we also would encourage you too, if you are looking for a good system, we can offer you a discount. We do have a small affiliation with. I'll say, look, you get a discount when you use the discount code RENEWED at greenfieldwater.com. They've got some nice, and we do receive a small portion of that as well. So it won't cost you anything. It'll get you a 10% discount when you use the code RENEWED. And we do receive a small compensation for any purchase you buy there that helps keep us in business, so we can continue to provide some good content like this for you guys. But they do have a really nice system that they have a five-stage filter system that goes underneath your sink. That is stainless steel housings like the one I just showed you, but it has a contaminant filter on the up front of that's made in the United States. It has a mineralization block. I'll talk about that here in a few minutes for you as well. It then has a what's called a TS3 carbon filter, which is made in Germany. After that, it goes through a copper vortexer, which vortexes the water, brings it to life, and then on top of that, it has an energizer as well, which is filled with different types of energizing kind of compounds as well, along with, and then it comes out, goes into your glass of water, and you end up with good clean water. Now, is it going to read TDS 001? No, it's not. Your mineral content on any kind of filter system is going to be higher than what we're using right now. But it will get out with a system well designed like that 5-stage filtration system from Greenfield Water. It'll get out a lot of the chemical compounds. Right now, as of December of 2022, that unit is retailing on their website for $888. Use their discount code, it drops it down $88, 10%. Okay, so hopefully that will help. All right, so our water versus the tap water that's already gone through a filter system. This water here is probably better than your drinking water that you're getting right now, because I'm going to take you to my garage and show you exactly what this water's been through. This water has gone through the system in the garage and then through a high-quality Canadian-made distillation system. Okay, so with that being said, the distillation water, you probably do want to add some mineral content back into that, because distilled water by itself can be pretty aggressive. It can pull minerals, but you want to balance it out a little bit. We would recommend, highly recommend, Anderson CMD House Reserve Mineral Drops, or you could use any types of different types of trace mineral products. My theory is get your water absolutely as clean as you possibly can afford, and then if you want to add something to it after the fact, go ahead and do that. Okay, so if you want to go to a system like ours, which is going to set you back probably about $4,000. Then great, go for it. If you've got it in a budget, call me. I'll talk you through. I'll tell you what to purchase, all that kind of stuff. I'll show you in my garage as well. But this little bottle like this, about a little less than $20. Just take a drop per liter, and it'll bounce your mineral content from 0 to 1 parts per million up to about 33, 34 parts per million, which is honestly, in my opinion, pretty perfect as well. And this product is made solar evaporation in Utah off the Great Salt Lake. It's got all the known trace minerals in it, high concentration of magnesium as well. So it certainly has a bitter taste. If you put it right underneath your tongue, it tastes terrible. But you put a drop per liter or so of really clean, ultra pure water. It'll balance the water out. Bring some mineral content into it and give you a really, really good quality water. So, all right, friends, that is this. I'm going to take you to the garage, and then I'm going to take you to the distillation system, and then we'll come back here in a few minutes. We'll see you there. All right, guys, here we are in my garage. Didn't even clean up for you. This is just how it looks naturally. So want to point out my whole house filtration system. Okay, so if you're going to get your showers clean, get the water going through your showers as clean as possible, you're going to need to have some kind of setup similar to this. This is a 4-bedroom house, about 3,000, a little less than about 2,600 square feet. And we have chloramine in our water in our municipality, which is much more difficult to get out of the water than regular chlorine would be. So these two roughly 3.5 feet tall canisters are filled with what's called a catalytic carbon. There are two pre-filters, one here and one directly below, that the water is going to go through to remove any iron deposits. You'll see it about a year in, these filters will start getting red. It's just going to depend on kind of what's in your water supply. After they go through that, then they're going to go all the way through the length of the canister, and then to go all the way through the length of the other canister. And the reason that my system needs two is because candidly one doesn't have enough dwell time to actually absorb and remove out chloramines out of the water. So if you're going to screw on a $50 shower filter from your local health food store on your shower head, guess what? It's not going to do anything to remove the chloramines out of your water, because that little filter that your water is blowing through real quickly can't remove chloramines. It can reduce chlorine, so if you've just got basic chlorine in your water, it might be fine. But when our city switched over about 8 years ago to chloramine, guess what that meant? Investing in a system like this. Now, this isn't something you can buy online. I worked with a local water company in my area that comes out and regularly changes out these filters, and they test my water for chloramine. To be fair, I don't want to have to mess with that. But at the time, gosh, this was probably 7-8 years ago or so, this setup was $1,700-$1,800, give or take. So now it's probably $2,500 to be fair with the way the cost is going. But I don't think I'd spend more than $2,500 for a system like this, because to be fair, you're still going to need to do something at point of use where you're drinking water and your consumption water, because you're going to have the water coming out of this through your dirty pipes. And to be fair, this is kind of like a street sweeper. It's not a toothbrush. Okay, so it's going to get out a lot of the heavy contaminants like chloramine. All right, let me take you inside, and I'm going to take you to my final purification system, and I'll let you see that. All right, here you are in my laundry room now in my home, and I want to introduce you to where the water goes from when it comes from the garage into my house. Now the water actually comes into this, which is a boiling chamber. This is a Precision Model 12-12 automated distillation system from Canada. We used to sell these. We don't anymore. It's just a headache on our end. Candidly, they're a great system, but it's a mechanical system. And if you want one, you can certainly go online and find Precision Systems from the folks out west. There's a U.S. distribution point there as well. We do not have any affiliation with them. There might be better distillation systems on the market, but this is a pretty good one. So let me explain to you how it works. Water comes into this. Water starts to boil. Water starts to evaporate as steam. And there is, at the top of this, there's a chamber that the steam has to travel through before it reaches a distillation coil on that side. Distillation coil is being cooled by a fan that'll turn on and blow the heat off of the coil, turns that back from steam into water. Water then comes down, goes through this canister, which is filled with activated charcoal, and then it goes into this and fills the entire 12-gallon reservoir. So we need a 12-gallon reservoir because there's 5 people in our home. This system turns on automatically when it gets to a certain level. Right now it won't turn on because candidly it's not down enough. And then the water either comes out the tap at the bottom, or it goes into a pumping system which sends it to my refrigerator for my ice maker, sends it to the side of my sink for usage, filling up pots or glasses or whatever the case may be that I want to use it for. And then the contaminants stay in the bottom of this. Now, some of the contaminants will make it through a simple distillation process. Now, keep in mind, I've got plenty of activated catalytic carbon in my garage that's getting out volatile organic compounds and lighter compounds that would make it through the regular distillation system. However, I didn't have that. That is what this activated charcoal canister right here is filled with, basically coconut carbon that's going to take out those VOCs and those things of that sort as well. However, whatever contaminants are left behind in here, there's a valve on the bottom. I flush that and it goes directly down my drain where my laundry machine right here below is draining into as well. So that's how this system operates. And you could, to be fair with you, you could fill this thing with urine, turn it on and run a full cycle, and it's going to come through just about spick and span drinkable water. So like, a good system like this is going to remove out everything from bacteria. So if there's a boil water alert in your community, you're gonna have to take your filters and throw them away and replace them. You have to change out your tubing. On a system like this, you can run this system when it says boil water, because that's exactly what it's doing. It's distilling the water using high heat. So does this room get warm when you run this thing? Yeah, it does. In the wintertime, that's kind of nice. In the summertime, it's inconvenience because it's going to cause your air conditioning bill to go up a little bit in the summertime. So it probably offsets, probably net neutral between the winter and the summertime with the benefits of the heat here. So that's how it works. And as I said, I'll meet you back in the other room here in a few minutes and we'll wrap this up. Friends, I hope that was helpful for you to get some ideas, and understanding kind of the importance of water, volatile organic compounds, contaminants, minerals, pesticide residues, herbicides as well, pharmaceuticals in your water supply, minerals that are less than ideal, i.e. like lead and heavy metals and things of that sort. Look, there's a lot of reasons why you would want to get water as clean as you can possibly afford. I've shown you my setup, which is rather extensive. I told you it's going to be probably well over $4,000 at this point for everything that I've got set up. I'd encourage you to do what you can, get the best. And if you're really looking for a great water system, contact the folks at greenfieldwater.com. Use the discount code RENEWED. Check out their website for some great options. And you can always feel free to call me as well. If you're thinking about, hey, this is what my current setup is. If I wanted to upgrade, here's my budget. What might I go with? You can always feel free to call us at renewedhealth.com. And I'm more than happy to get back in touch with you. Hey, in the meanwhile, here's to a great glass of water. We wish you the best and hope to see you soon. Hope this content was helpful and have a great day.